It's all covered in today's China Truths.
Zhang Youxia resurfaces amid rumors. He's now China's real military boss. Zhang Youxia, vice chairman of the Chinese Central Military Commission, made a public appearance at a Chinese military event just days ago. Rumors have been swirling that Jang has seized full control of the military and launched a purge targeting Xi Jinping's loyalists. Recently, a wave of rumors and developments has been circulating within the CCP, suggesting that the alliance linked to former leaders Hu Jintao and Wen Jiabao may be regaining influence behind the scenes. According to Xinhua news agency, a military training ground construction observation and exchange was held in Beijing from the 27th to 28th. Zhang Youxia, a political bureau member and vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, was present at the event. Reporters from the Epoch Times compared this year's meeting with previous ones, 2023's military basic training session in Tianjin and 2024's synthetic training session in Zhangjiakou. Zhang Youxia also attended both. All official reports followed the same format. 4 paragraphs, starting with the note that the event was held with the approval of President Xi Jinping, and Zhang calling for the full implementation of Xi's instructions. 2 speeches by Zhang were listed, with content nearly identical across the years. Since last summer, numerous signs have hinted at Xi Jinping's waning power. His allies in multiple sectors, especially in the military, have been purged, vanished, or investigated. Miao Hua, director of the political department, was suddenly investigated last November, and He Weidong, vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, disappeared after the March 2 sessions. Speculation has grown that Zhang Youxia is now the sole wielder of military authority. Late last year, the CCP's military paper abruptly shifted its tone, dropping praise of Xi as the singular decision-maker and instead emphasizing collective leadership. Many observers believe this signals that Xi may have already lost control of the armed forces. The Epoch Times, citing a reliable source, reports that Xi still holds power in name only. In reality, it's over. Figures like Wen Jiabao and Zhang Youxia have become pivotal to China's unfolding political drama. The source claimed Xi's downfall began in April last year. Despite several counterattacks, including reportedly firing live ammunition, each attempt failed. Now, Xi merely acts his part, following orders even when traveling abroad. Commentator Li Linyi told the Epoch Times that Zhang's appearance at this latest training event was purely procedural. State media basically recycled old reporting formats. Zhang's reference to Xi's directives shouldn't be seen as quashing rumors that Xi lost power and Zhang seized control. On the contrary, there's growing talk of massive leadership changes following the CCP's 4th plenary session. If so, we are in a tense pre-transition phase, where the surface remains calm while everything beneath is shifting. Xi Jinping once used military training to display dominance. Epoch Times reporters reviewed previous accounts and found that on January 3, 2018, Xi personally issued military training orders at a Central Military Commission event. From 2019 to 2022, Xi signed Order Number 1 annually, mobilizing troops and commanding fanfare from state media that glorified his army-strengthening thought. But in early 2023, only a low-profile military video covered the event. No mention of Xi, no public declarations of loyalty. By early 2024 and 2025, even as training resumed on a large scale, Xi's name had vanished from the reports. Independent commentator Kai Shenkun suggested on a self-media program that the purge of generals may have destabilized Xi's position. Perhaps someone, quietly or openly, was challenging his authority. The most persistent rumor? A clash between Zhang Youxia and Xi himself. Veteran Hong Kong journalist Yan Chenggu posted on Facebook that since the 2024 Beidaihe meeting, the CCP's political tide has clearly shifted. The once flourishing cult of Xi Jinping has lost momentum. Phrases like personally commands, one-man decisions, and points the direction have faded from state media. Flattering coverage has grown increasingly rare. He argued that after more than a decade of consolidating power, while leaving chaos in both domestic and foreign policy, the return of collective leadership post-Beidai may signal a coming power transition. Commentator Tang Jingyuan emphasizes that the signs of Xi's disempowerment are unmistakable. The Xi family army has been completely dismantled, while Zhang Youxia's faction remains untouched. Meanwhile, Hu Jintao's political legacy has resurfaced in party media, signaling a shift from one-man rule to a balanced power structure among competing factions. At present, Xi retains only his titular roles. His real authority has effectively vanished. Prices are soaring again, and at home the people, quite literally, are running out of food. After Kunming Metro hiked fares on April 15th, Chongqing is following suit. But while ticket prices go up, ordinary people are going under. Inflation keeps pushing living costs higher, wages are stagnant or falling, and countless working families now struggle just to afford daily essentials. Even basic food is slipping out of reach. Subsidies for urban rail come in two forms: operational support to cover losses and investment support for construction, but both are drying up. According to the blogger Glacier Think Tank, Chongqing Rail Transit Group received 8.538 billion yuan in subsidies in 2023, but only 4.347 billion in 2024. That's a brutal 4.2 billion yuan cut. In fact, this year it's getting just 4.291 billion yuan to keep running, zero for any expansion. Local finance must now burn over 4 billion yuan a year simply to keep the trains moving. Meanwhile, debt is ballooning. By the end of 2023, Chongqing's government owed 1.2258 trillion yuan. By the end of 2024, it will reach 1.4425 trillion. With only 700 billion yuan in annual revenue, the city faces crushing pressure. This year alone, it must repay 246.3 billion yuan. Hard days aren't coming, they're already here. Kunming's situation is even worse. Raising fares is inevitable, but it won't stop the bleeding. By the end of 2023, Kunming Rail Transit Group had 731 million yuan in unpaid bills and nearly 1 billion yuan in cumulative overdue debt. The true cause? A blind obsession with land finance. Back in 2015, Kunming's average land price was 1,347 yuan per square meter. By 2019, it had soared to 3,972 yuan, nearly triple in just 5 years. Even top-tier cities haven't seen such speculative madness. Now, Kunming Rail Transit is buried under debt and cash flow is drying up. With passenger numbers falling and fares already unaffordable for many, price hikes are useless. The once glorified rail transit boom in second- and third-tier cities is unraveling. Many projects were pushed through recklessly to chase land profits. Now, as the property bubble bursts, cities are stuck, unable to move forward or backward. Last November, Liuzhou Rail Transit Group tore down light rail piers along Gilyu Road in Guangxi. The abandoned concrete pillars standing in the middle of the street became a viral symbol of failed planning, a bitter joke in a time when people can't even afford to eat. BYD ignited a price war, tanking auto stocks. Experts exposed the chaos behind the scenes. The recent bankruptcy of BYD's core distributor in Shandong Province, Jinan Gancheng, has sent shockwaves through the auto industry. The incident not only exposes the survival crisis dealers face amid China's brutal auto price war, but also underscores a grim reality. Over 80% of them are trapped in the quagmire of price inversion. BYD just slashed prices for 22 models under its Dynasty and Ocean series. The dual-motor Seal Hybrid dropped 53,000 yuan to 103,000, a jaw-dropping 34% cut. The move wiped out the Hong Kong auto sector on Monday. BYD plummeted over 8%, Geely more than 9%, and Great Wall Motors over 5%. New EV makers weren't spared. Leapmotor dropped nearly 8%, followed by Ideal, Xpeng, and NIO. On May 21st, Great Wall Motors chairman Wei Jianjun blasted the madness in an exclusive Sina interview. He warned, "OEMs are cutting corners, even on safety, lifespan, and reliability. Some cars that once cost 220,000 are now 120,000. How can you cut 100,000 and still guarantee quality? Impossible. There's already an Evergrande in the auto world. It just hasn't exploded yet." Wei didn't name names, but the target was clear: pure electric vehicles. He also slammed the shady trend of selling brand-new cars as second-hand. Thousands of firms are faking sales with zero-kilometer used cars. Xi News reported Monday, the 26th, that suppliers are collapsing under years of price cutting. OEMs used to ask for 2 to 5% cuts. Now it's 10 to 20%. Small suppliers are dying out, and the risk of total supply chain collapse is rising fast. EU warns Chinese e-commerce Shein of violating consumer protection law. The European Commission and the Consumer Protection Cooperation Network, formed by the governments of 27 member states plus Norway and Iceland, issued a press release on May 26, stating that under the coordination of the Commission, the consumer protection agencies of Belgium, France, Ireland, and the Netherlands jointly investigated and found that Shein was blatantly deceiving consumers, from faking old prices to exaggerate discounts to setting false countdowns that pressured shoppers and providing misleading return policies. These tactics were a direct violation of several EU rules on unfair business practices, consumer rights, price labeling, and the e-commerce directive, making Shein the center of a storm over manipulation and misleading strategies. EU warns Chinese e-commerce Shein of violating consumer protection law. The European Commission and the Consumer Protection Cooperation Network, formed by the governments of 27 member states plus Norway and Iceland, issued a press release on May 26, stating that under the coordination of the Commission, the consumer protection agencies of Belgium, France, Ireland, and the Netherlands jointly investigated and found that Shein was blatantly deceiving consumers, from faking old prices to exaggerate discounts to setting false countdowns that pressured shoppers and providing misleading return policies. These tactics were a direct violation of several EU rules on unfair business practices, consumer rights, price labeling, and the e-commerce directive, making Shein the center of a storm over manipulation and misleading strategies. An unprecedented signal has appeared. Deposit interest rates at many Chinese banks have now dropped below 1%. On May 20th, China's 6 major state-owned banks, Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, Agricultural Bank of China, China Construction Bank, Bank of Communications, and Postal Savings Bank of China, along with China Merchants Bank, all slashed deposit rates. The one-year time deposit rate plunged below 1% for the first time, down to 0.95%, while the current deposit rate sank to just 0.05%. Joint stock banks raced to follow. CITIC, Industrial Bank, SPD Bank, Everbright, Huaxia, Minsheng, CGB, Ping An Bank, and others lowered their one-year time deposit rates to 1.15% and two-year rates to just 1.2%. First Financial Daily reported on May 26 that this sparked panic among depositors. Huang Yuan, alias, a depositor from Fujian, had 2 deposits maturing in June, previously earning 3.5%. Her future income is now in free fall. 1 million yuan in savings will see interest over 3 years drop from 105,000 to just 39,000 yuan. With rates in free fall, once hot products like large denomination certificates of deposit and notice deposits have lost appeal. Major banks are now phasing out multi-year CDs and cutting interest rates sharply. Bank of China currently has no CDs over 2 years available, a silent sign of tightening. Even private banks once known for high-interest offers have caved. Zhongbang Bank, as of May 25th, only offers CDs up to 1 year, with rates maxing out at a mere 1.65%. Last year, the same bank offered over 3%. In this climate, the former frenzy for large denomination certificates has faded. One depositor admitted, "I've stopped rushing. The rate gap just isn't worth it anymore." Bank of China clearly marked the price. Deposit 10 million children can go to Google and Microsoft for internships. Red Star Capital Bureau reported on May 26 that some netizens exposed shocking details on social media. Industrial Bank's WeChat account recently promoted a 2025 elite internship program that grants wealthy clients' children exclusive access to internships at top global firms. The bank's promotional materials made it crystal clear: new customers must deposit over 10 million yuan and old customers over 5 million yuan to secure internship spots at giants like JP Morgan, CICC, Google, Microsoft, and ByteDance. But there's a catch: the funds must remain untouched throughout the internship period. 2 industrial bank employees confirmed the program's existence, but said registration had already closed. One added that the campaign was launched by the head office to assist wealthy clients' children in studying abroad and landing jobs. Only 40 spots were available. The news exploded online. Netizens lashed out, "Are banks openly selling internships now?" Others lamented, "Capital decides everything. Ordinary people have no chance." If you're not rich, your child is locked out of the future. On May 26, Red Star Capital Bureau noticed that the post about the internship program had been quietly removed from Industrial Bank's official account.
Reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.